Hello, hello, hello. Today is the 22nd of March, 2024, and the calendar on the wall says it's time to hear from Norm Winski. Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I'm going to review. I was last on your show on the 8th of March. That was a Friday, just ahead of the weekend, so we had a couple things happening that weekend, and then the following week, too. Now, I've been asked several times, why do I do this? Why do I go back and review the past? Well, the answer to that is this is the only way you're going to learn these patterns so that you might be able to do some of this yourself. It goes to the Chinese proverb, catch a fish for a man, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. I'd rather teach you how to fish so that you can eat for a lifetime so you're not totally dependent on me for the next couple of days or whatever. So here we go. So over that weekend of the 8th, we had a new moon at perigee. That's a somewhat rare thing that happened in that the moon was both a new moon and the moon was at perigee, the closest point. Those cycles only coincide about every 14 months, and this occurred in the sign of Pisces, which is the big fish in the big water, all of the fish in the water, and so therefore I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Anytime we have a new moon, full moon, we look at financials, grains, precious metals, and oil, and in this case, we're emphasizing oil. Notice all caps there for oil in the sign of Pisces because Pisces is oil. It's the big liquid. So then we have Jupiter to the U.S. chart, for stock, C, bonds, U.S. dollar. Anytime we have a planet to the U.S. chart, major event, we look at those markets. Then we have Mercury. Anytime we have Mercury, we have the grains, corn, soybeans, wheat. By the way, the stocks, all these cycles apply to the stock market, so I don't even bother, unless it's very specific like the U.S. stuff. I don't bother always writing down stocks, And then we have a big deal here with the night of the 13th, which all these go usually, the AC means after the close, so we usually look for the trade on the next day's opening, and we had Jupiter lining up with Uranus. That only occurs every 13 months in the sign of Taurus, a bull. And so therefore we'll be looking at cattle. Taurus is also cotton, and because Uranus is involved, that brings in copper. Then we had again another Mercury cycle for corn, soybeans, wheat, and because it's perihelion, Helios is Greek for sun. That's Mercury was at, peri means close. Mercury was at its closest point to the sun in its 88-day cycle, and therefore we'll be looking at corn also. It's like a double whammy here with the sun and Mercury for corn. Then the night of the 19th, that's the night of the 15th, the night of the 19th had Venus aphelion, that's the opposite of perihelion, Venus at its farthest point, and then we'll be looking at our Venus markets, cattle, copper, cotton, sugar, and wheat. And then also because the sun is involved, we have corn and gold. And then I shared with you a GAN experiment I was doing. If you like, call me up and I'll go over this with you, give you a free GAN class. I'm going to keep it short today so we can save some time, but basically doing this GAN math here projected a possible turning point around the 12th of March for the stock market, S&P specifically, and we'll be looking at that in just a few minutes. So let's review our charts now. Here's the corn. We had 4 points for corn. There's the moon. That was the day before a high. There's Mercury point. That was the day after the high. That was when we had the another Mercury point there. That was the day after that low. And that one just went sideways, so I marked out a red arrow for a miss. So the greens are good, had a chance to make some money, and red is bad, you had a miss. Here are beans. Beans did not work that well on the moon, and so it just kept going up. But that was one day ahead of that high, and that was the next Mercury point was one day after the high. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a new high. So that was all sown. So that was a little short-term top there. That's right. All right, here's the wheat. We had the moon didn't work for wheat there, but it did work on the Mercury point there, and that Mercury point there, and that Venus point there, so that was pretty nice. Here's one I was really interested in seeing how that was come out with the Jupiter lining up with Uranus in Taurus, the bull, and here's cattle, and guess what? That was a pretty nice short-term top there, as you can see, and a big plunge that day for about 2 handles, which every handle in cattle land is $400. That was good for about $800 there. Here's cotton, same deal. We were going sideways here for Venus, so we did nothing there. And here's cotton, had a little short-term top there for the cotton on the same window as the cattle. And then down here, but here, you made a low. This is kind of frustrating. You made a low, but then it just went sideways. So I had to mark that as a miss, even though you probably wouldn't have lost hardly any money at all. Here's sugar, and all we had for sugar is Venus, the Venus cycle here, and that made a nice short-term low there. And as you can see, then we had copper. Copper didn't work for the RE Jupiter Uranus point there, but it did work for a little short-term low here on Venus. And Venus and Uranus are the two co-ruling planets for copper. And then we had the moon for silver, and you see we made a short-term top there for silver. And gold, same deal there. There's the high that we were one day out, right after that top there. And then you had a nice steady decline into that low there. And then the gold made a low there, but just went sideways. So we counted that as a miss, and then it kept going sideways into our Venus aphelion point, and that was a pass. So we did nothing there. So here's crude oil. This is really nice. Another market we were featuring because we had the moon in Pisces, the new moon in Pisces, which is oil. And this proves that these signs are important to this analysis. And so the oil dropped right into the new moon there in Pisces. And then look at the huge rally you got from that low. I think about $7, 7 handles, $7,000. Okay. And then we have S&P. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 points here for the S&P. As you can see here, there's a double whammy there for the moon and the U.S. point there. That was a nice low. Then we had like a triple top here. All of them, if you held on, or you could have made some money there. Then it went up for a little short-term top there and a pullback, and that one there didn't work. So you had 6 out of 7 for the S&P. T-bonds went sideways, and we had the double window there, nothing there because it was going sideways. But the currencies were pretty good. The dollar dropped right into the moon there, and our U.S. point for that low there, and then up and away. Here's the Aussie dollar, kind of mirror imaging the U.S. dollar. Made a top there, as did the British pound, and but the Canadian dollar had too much of a pullback here after that high day. This is our window over here. So if you bought there, it would just chopped up and down. So that was a miss. Here's the euro doing the topping on the moon pattern there. And here's your Japanese yen. That's maybe even better. You had a chance to sell it right near the highs there. So, we got one more to go. Swiss franc is near the high there. So we had a score of 30 winners out of 38, 8 misses, for 78.95% winners. Here's what's coming up immediately this weekend. We're doing this Friday afternoon on March 22, and AC is after the close. So here's what's coming up over this weekend. We'll be looking for something or some market that's at an extreme. If it's chopping sideways, that's not a good opportunity. We want something that's gotten to some sort of an extreme here into Monday. So we had Uranus lining up with the U.S. chart for stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. We have Mars going into Pisces for oil. We have Saturn again to the U.S. chart for stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. Jupiter to U.S. chart again, stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. We have a Mercury cycle for the grains, corn, soybeans, wheat. And we have a full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. Let me tell you about, in addition to the usual thing there with a full moon, this is a lunar eclipse in Libra. We'll be doing our usual suspects: financial, grains, precious metals, oil, and featuring sugar and wheat. Those are Libra markets. And I'm going to tell you something additional here. I've done research on this many years, and this is a high confidence thing. About 75% of the time, the stock market does not like lunar eclipses, and within one day of a lunar eclipse, on average, the major indices like the Dow Jones, the S&P, will have about a 1.75% decline. So you're going to should get a pretty good decline here about Monday or Tuesday. Okay, from the lunar eclipse. Here's who I am. I've been doing this about 50 years, and I'm a former Chicago floor trader. I was on the CBOE and the Board of Trade, and I've studied all these different methodologies: Gann, Elliott wave, astrophysics, astrology, and so forth. And so looking forward to helping some of the folks. By the way, this stuff might look complicated to you. I have a talent for reducing these things to really simple, Nothing I do is over a fifth grade level, so if you made it through grade school, you're good to go with me. And here's my phone number. Looking forward to helping you. 239-594-3939. That's 239-594-3939 in beautiful Naples, Florida. You can email me at nwinski@yahoo.com, or you can Skype me. You can call me on Skype there for free, and I'll be happy to help you. Everybody have a great weekend and a great week ahead. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Norm, great as always, another fantastic percentage winning record, and we'll see you back in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.